J. Cole, The Fall Off, an album review. Welcome back to the channel. Please make sure you like, share, comment and subscribe. Today we're reviewing The Fall Off, which is the long anticipated project from J. Cole, officially released as The Fall Off. So I listened to the album and I'm not going to give you what my verdict is. You're going to have to wait until the end, but I do have some strong views about the content and the sort of methodology of the album. But yes, this album has been years in the making, teased, delayed, mythologized. The Fall Off carried the weight of expectation before anyone even heard a single track. The title alone suggests decline, ego death, or perhaps a commentary on how the industry treats longevity. And just pausing there for a second, we of course remember that J. Cole was part of the initial going back and forth between Kendrick Lamar and Drake a couple of years ago, a year or so ago, and he decided to step back from that beef. To my disgust, I'll be quite frank, that was to my disgust. I wasn't very happy about how he dealt with that. I think that he should have maintained his initial position, but he did not. But we move, and now we have The Fall Off. And what do we say about this? Does or has J. Cole fallen off, or has he proved that he's never left? So right from the opening track, the tone is reflective but razor sharp. The production leans into soulful samples, warm bass lines, and minimal but hard-hitting drums. It feels mature, less concerned with radio appeal and more focused on legacy. There's a notable restraint here. Instead of chasing trends, Cole doubles down on craftsmanship. And my view actually is, and I will come on to this now, is that I do kind of think that he does kind of jump, I wouldn't say genres, but in terms of moods of music in this album. I mean, it's quite a lengthy album, so it's understandable with two sides that might be sort of really contrasting themes. But my view was that it wasn't centric to hip hop in my view. It just kind of jumped around. There's a bit of electronic. There's a bit of it's kind of all over the place, and that was one of my critiques of the album. To be fair, I do like how he's kind of rolled the album out. I think he turned up to the Super Bowl, had a crowd of people there. It was good promo. He said, we didn't expect to be here or something along those lines, but he was there and he was speaking to the crowd, and he said they needed to go and move with him. And then there's another clip, and you'll see him on my channel actually, where he's in his Honda Civic, an old Honda Civic, speaking to members of the public. So I do think he's done a good rollout for this project. But as I say, I do felt that the album lacked a bit of consistency, and I will give my score towards the end. Lyrically, it might be one of his most focused projects. Themes of aging in hip-hop, fatherhood, legacy, doubt and competitive hunger run through the album. He sounds aware of the clock ticking, not in a desperate way, but in a calculated, reflective way. There are moments where he dissects fame with surgical precision, questioning whether the climb was worth the emotional cost. Then almost immediately, he pivots into reminding everyone why he's still elite technically. The rhyme schemes are layered. The breath control is tight. His cadence shifts are subtle but intentional. He doesn't oversize hooks or chase viral moments. Instead, he leans into storytelling and bar for bar sparring. What stands out most is the emotional transparency. Cole has always balanced confidence with humility, but here the vulnerability feels heavy. He talks openly about pressure, not just from fans, but from himself. There's a sense that he's measuring his career against his own standards more than anyone else's. Production-wise, the album is cohesive. I don't think so. I don't really think it is cohesive. When I reflect on my thoughts on this, I felt my view was that it was quite disjointed, so I would say that it's less than cohesive. Unlike some of his previous releases that felt like a collection of ideas, I think this is like a collection of ideas, to be fair to me. And I don't think that the sequence flows naturally, but I mean, I'll give my verdict, as I say, towards the end. The middle stretch of the album does build with momentum, with some of the most technically impressive rapping that we may have heard from him in years. There's been some critically early reactions, which they have been strong. Rolling Stone praised the album's veteran clarity and sharpened pen, highlighting how Cole embraces growth without abandoning hunger. Meanwhile, Pitchfork noted the project's thematic cohesion and described it as one of his most complete bodies of work. And I don't agree with that, but I mean, everybody's entitled to their opinion, even if it doesn't reinvent his sound sonically. This isn't a radical reinvention. If you're expecting a dramatic stylistic left turn, you won't find it here. Cole stays in his lane, soulful beats, introspective writing, competitive undertones, but what elevates the album is refinement. Everything feels tightened, more deliberate, more distilled. There are very few filler moments. Even the quieter tracks serve a purpose in the larger narrative. If there's a flaw, it's that some production choices feel safe. A few instrumentals blend together, and while the rapping is consistently strong, there aren't many experimental risks. Maybe that's the point. The Fall Off doesn't sound like an artist trying to prove relevance. It sounds like an artist solidifying legacy. There's confidence in restraint. Instead of chasing the next wave, Cole sounds like he's documenting where he stands. Experienced, self-aware, and still technically dangerous. Emotionally, the closing tracks leave an impact. There's a subtle sense of finality, not necessarily retirement, but closure on the chapter. It feels like someone looking back with regret, but with realism. So let's score it. As a lyrical performance, I would give it good. I wouldn't say excellent. I wouldn't say it's a cohesive album, so I would say I would give that a kind of strong. Groundbreaking reinvention, definitely moderate. My score, and I'm gonna say I gave it a 7 out of 10. That was just my feeling after listening to all the tracks. I sat down one evening and did listen to every single track on the album. My view was it was a 7 out of 10. I wouldn't give it anywhere sort of 8 or 9 or anything like that. It doesn't reinvent him, it refines him. It's mature, focused, and deeply self-aware. And this does mark the end of Era from. That's what the appearance of the album is. It's a powerful way to close the chapter, and it's not then. It's proof that he hasn't fallen off, and he's evolved. So the tracks on it, you've got 29. So you've got 2 discs, disc 29 and disc 39. So you've got part 1, part 2. On disc 29, you've got 29 intro, 26 safety, Runner Train, Poor Fang, Legacy, Bunch Road Blues, What TF Is You, Drum and Bass, The Let Out, Bombs in the Ville, Hit the Gas, Lonely at the Top. These are some bonus on there 11. Then on this 39, which is part 2, he's got 39 intro. The Fall Off is inevitable. Come back to that in a moment. That's probably one of the standout tracks. The Villist, Old Dog, Life Sentence, Only You, Man Up Above, I Love Her Again, What If, Quick Stop, and The Whole World Is the Ville, Ocean Way. So there's 24 main songs plus 2 bonus tracks. And yeah, the standout track, as I say, is The Fallout Is Inevitable. The song feels like emotional and thematic centerpiece of the album. J. Cole leans into the album's core concept, confronting legacy, decline, public perception, and the fear of fading relevance. How it stands out is that there's lyrical sharpness. The rhyme schemes are dense but controlled, packed with layered reflections on aging in hip-hop and staying competitive. There's emotional weight, vulnerability. Cole sounds reflective, almost meditative, but still confident. The production, the beat builds gradually, soulful, minimal, and cinematic, allowing the verses to take center stage. I wouldn't say it's very creative, the track itself. It's quite a consistent track, but it does capture the album's thesis better than any other track. So it's the moment where everything clicks: message, performance, atmosphere, and it does make it the defining song of the project. So yeah, that's my album review of The Fall Off. It's a bit negative. It's a bit of a negative title, really, The Fall Off, but I can't really criticize him for having that as a title, because that's must be how he's feeling or where he's feeling when he was writing the album, and certainly withdrawing from a rap battle in the way that he did from the Drake situation. It's kind of somebody who is comfortable to kind of move on, really, and that's my view, and that's where that album lies. Anyway, thank you very much for watching and listening. Please make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe, and watch out for some new videos by tapping the bell, and also hype. Done talking.